it meant anything goes. Anyone could die, anyone could fall in love, anyone could die, anyone could fall in love, anyone could die, anyone could die.
Age of Apocalypse.
Concept was so cool.
Age of Apocalypse.
Concept was so cool.
People couldn't believe it. They had to believe it. People couldn't believe it. They had to believe it.
Everything that you hit on the known level. Out the window. Everything that you hit on the known level. Out the window. Everything that you hit on the known level. Out the window.
I'm Jeremy Greer.
And I'm Gary Butterfield.
And this is Days of Future Cast, the podcast where Gary and I, issue by issue, are working through Age of Apocalypse, the 1990s crossover sensation where Xavier dies and 2020 happens. That's pretty much pretty much it. How you doing, Gary?
I'm all right. Enjoying a nice cup of coffee.
Word.
Sunny day, which I don't care for. But maybe that'll go away. Yesterday we got a big, nice summer storm.
Ooh.
It was real good. It was a beautiful downpour. Got a pet and Pocket the cat. I'm doing good.
Good. I got two sleepy bassets on a bed behind me, and
ooh,
we're in the days of summer in South Louisiana, man. It's been real shitty, super hot. So
sorry to hear that.
Just like
I went to
Cyclops' Age of Apocalypse design.
Yep, his beautiful Guns N' Roses-esque hair.
I love it, dude. That's so fucking Axel. I love it so much.
Yep. We were talking about Factor X here. As a reminder, this is the comic that follows all the different twins that Sinister employed.
Twincast.
Yep, I prefer twins. It's about twins, and this is where that plot's going to really start developing. The background plots have included stuff like Cyclops being a favorite and Havoc being jealous of him. People have been escaping from the gene labs. Sinister left, and Angel is there. And Havoc is having an affair with a singer who looks like somebody doing a Jean Grey impersonation.
Yes.
Try to get back at Cyclops.
Probably so. Yeah. I'm going to fuck a girl that looks kind of like your ex-girl.
What the? Alex, it's neither the time. Let's train.
What do you think about what do you think about me fucking this girl that kind of looks like your ex-girl? I don't even think about you at all, Havoc.
Yeah, exactly. No, I have reports to file. So this is a cool issue. It's funny, like going through these Age of Apocalypse things, is that the later issue, I feel like I've probably began to read the Age of Apocalypse more than I finished it.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. So the first issues of each arc I have pretty firmly in mind. Some of the later issues are newer to me. I've read them fewer times, and they get cooler. Like, I think when I was younger, I was just like way into the first issue, but now I'm like way into when they've stopped just introducing the concepts.
Yeah.
Like the plot starts in this issue, and I'm like, oh, this is kind of cool. I'm kind of into this.
Once they stop being like, oh, here's, we have to check in on every single X-Men adjacent character and for every book, and then like, oh, here's some actual plot, is when it starts kind of picking up a little bit. Like the idea of these the brain trust, which are these like in vitro brains of these 6 powerful telepaths that basically keep people tamped down for the breeding pens, which is super disgusting and horrible, but like kind of a weird and cool concept from like X-Men stuff.
It's dystopian, and this is a dystopia.
Gary, I have some breaking news. Is there a new Wolverine trailer?
New Wolverine trailer?
Yeah.
For a movie?
Yeah.
Oh. I didn't know about one, but if so.
Apparently Nick Fury is in it.
Oh, excuse me?
This doesn't exist. Logan 2, the Wolverine. I don't think this is real, Dad.
Yeah, I don't. Oh, your dad said it to you. Oh, okay. Well, I'm probably not. Probably not. If I put in Wolverine trailer, nothing new gets.
Yeah. This is absolute. God damn it.
Damn it, Dad.
Damn it, Dad. Now I have to do editing. Just kidding. I'm going to leave all that shit in.
You know, that doesn't seem like that kind of show.
How exciting would it have been, though?
Yeah, to have the live reactions. We could have been those people now. Live trailer reactions.
So I did not mean to interrupt you. Please continue talking about the.
Oh no, that was important. So we open up on this brain trust here, and it's kind of pushing everybody down. People are kind of huddled in masses here in this, but there are a few people who are immune to this, and they're talking about this mysterious figure who has come in to rescue them. This person who's coming in offering them a chance out of here, and we look, and it's clearly Magneto. Mm-hmm. Which is real wild. They do a cool thing with the art where they like wash out the colors.
Yes.
Of him. So he looks really, something is wrong. And he's going up to Lorna Dane, aka Polaris. And we know it's Polaris because she's dressed up in a Magneto shirt and has green hair.
Yeah. Just like she did in The Gifted, the short but sweet TV show, which we will never cover on this podcast. Yeah, this is she's obviously like a little kind of messed up about everything. Like she's obviously been through a lot of trials, and she's like, I can't believe you don't recognize me. I'm your daughter. And Magneto just turns around and jets out. Yep.
Gets out of there. He's like, I'd take you all if I could, but I can't. I have to leave. And he's taking other people. She's very upset, obviously, because he's escaped with other people. We cut over to Havoc and Cyclops getting a audience on Apocalypse's throne of skulls. And he picks up one, crushes it during this, which I like. He just keeps them there like peanut shells to break for a point. I looked they made a Age of Apocalypse action figure, and it comes with a human skull to hold.
Dude,
so it's very
that is the fucking best.
Yeah. I was like very close to getting it. I'm like, I'm kind of limiting action figures. I want to get like a little team of like good, 80s X-Men, and then just have them set up somewhere and leave them. But getting an Age of Apocalypse with a skull is very tempting. And there's just tentacles around and ruin and stuff. And he so he's talking about Sinister leaving.
Yes,
basically. He brings up his predilection for twins. His genetics hub tag. And basically says like he's gonna catch him. I'm gonna get Apocalypse. I filled oceans with the blood of my enemies.
I declare bankruptcy, says Michael Scott.
I am Apocalypse. Crushing another skull, and it's like, yeah, we know.
And I love that like this picture where Havoc is like, whoa, and Cyclops is like not even bothered.
Mm-hmm. Yep. He's seen enough skulls crushed that he's not impressed. And he basically says, hey, you might be underestimating Sinister. And Apocalypse admires this. Unlike your brother, you don't recoil. Mm-hmm. No wonder Sinister loved you. Maybe you'll be one of my horsemen. He says whatever you will, and Havoc has a real hard time with this. Because that's basically his arc in this.
Had you noticed that Havoc's like eye tattoo just goes up into a barcode before now? Like I feel like this is the first time we saw this, right?
Yeah. It's like a weird meme from the Age of Apocalypse. Like instead of long cat, they have long barcode. Where it just continues, keeps scrolling. It's like, oh, this barcode keeps going. I love there's this great little like bit of Apocalypse negging him too, where Cyclops is like, whatever you will, and Apocalypse says, well, there'll be many trials before you earn that rank. Now, before you remain, for now, you remain in charge of the pens. I'll be watching. And Havoc's like, you can also count on my continual allegiance, my liege. He just shuts him up. But I love him just being like, I am also here.
Oh, wait, me too. I will also, you're my lord or whatever. Yeah, me too.
Yeah. You did the I declare bankruptcy. There's big Dwight Schrute energy to Havoc in this.
Oh, yeah, dude, that's great.
Or Andy Bernard. This
Dwight's
is
way better than
Jim
Andy,
and Dwight. Yeah, this is Jim and Dwight of Age of Apocalypse. So they hop on their hogs,
of course.
They're cool cycles, and they go back and forth. Kind of talking as they jet away.
Havoc is basically accusing Cyclops of like, you just get all this stuff handed to you, and Cyclops is like, yeah, but I don't actually want it. Like, and also while we're talking, I'm your boss, and you need to go get all those reports for me. And as they split up and like take two different paths, I love this because Havoc is like, I'm sick of you treating me like a child, so I'm just gonna smash this thing that I'm driving past.
I'm just gonna smash a random tech. with a scratch sound effect. So they both go off to see a different set of twins. Havoc goes off to check in on the escape from the pens with the Guthrie twins here. And he's like, hey, don't fail me again. And they're like, understood. But they knew exactly when we were on our perimeter sweep. Like they came at the exact right time. If you look at the tape here, we can see they have a visual mask like thing set up, like a scrambler. So we can't see who it is, but we saw Polaris saw the figure. So we need to go question her.
Yeah. So they do, and quickly realize that she's kind of just out of it. She keeps saying it was Magneto and her father, which, they know for a fact Magneto wasn't her father because they did DNA scans and all this other stuff. But she's kind of viewed as totally out there and crazy, and they don't really get anything out of her. But during this like interrogation, Havoc treats her a little too rough, and she kind of does this blast and tries to pull all of the iron out of his blood. Which is not supposed to be able to happen. Like there's all of the brain trust is supposed to keep all their powers dampened and everything. So she's not supposed to be able to do this. And she also calls Havoc Alex constantly, like they have some sort of previous relationship.
Later, this is referred to as one hell of a magnetic wallop.
Yeah, it is.
That she does. And the reason why she's not being, kind of put down by the brain trust is because she's one of the mental defectives, which, not the most woke language for you, giant Guthrie.
Man, just I mean, like first it was we haven't really got to it, but the Juggernaut stuff, and then now Lorna Dane. Like, there's some fans out there that are really disappointed in this run, just really sacrificing all my faves. Huh? You made Lorna Dane a mentally deficient person. Like that's wrong.
Yeah, wild. So the three of them all go and check in on Beast, and they're like, "Hey, Beast." And Beast is trying to put together a person in his blorp tube. It does not work. He smashes some equipment. A lot of people are very petulant about equipment. And he says, like, hey, I need you to, this person stood up to interrogation. I need you to, like, trowel their brain.
Yeah.
And figure out what's going on.
And they try to warn him of, like, hey, watch out. She can hit you with this wallop. And he's like, oh no, I've already like scanned her. I was instructed to find out whether or not she was actually related to Magneto and if we could use that. And they go through her history, which is like her parents were murdered in one of the first cullings, and she almost died, but her powers were manifested. And because she had magnetic powers, she fixated on Magneto, which eventually like turned into dementia, which led her to like have a run-in with Rogue, and it looks like Rogue is absorbing her powers. So we talked about this a couple of issues back about like why does Rogue just have magnetic powers, and finally here it's explained. So,
well, what we were asking about was why Rogue could fly and has super strength.
Well, I mean, magnets, Gary.
I get, like, that's the thing. That
I don't know how that's not clear to you. Did I not mention I specifically said magnets.
You did say that, to be fair. Because somebody in the Slack was like, oh yeah, she absorbed Lorna Dane's powers. And I was like, wait, that's not what I asked, though. The very first X-Men Alpha, it's all about her having super strength and knocking infinites across the room with her crazy punches.
Yeah. With her magnetic punches. Come on, man. Where are you at?
I get you now. I like how Beast Cat says Worf, like the Star Trek character in the middle of this.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's a sound that a cat has ever made. Worf?
Yeah.
It's very weird.
Well, Knuckle had a cat named Worf for a while, which I thought was like,
oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, they were the kind of Trekkies that learned Klingon for a while, but they still can't.
Oh hell yeah!
Still don't like black people though.
Please don't edit my hell yeah to be after that.
Hell yeah!
When I was
racism, says Gary Butterfield.
Hell yeah!
I'm gonna stretch this all out.
Yeah. When I was a teen, I used to go to my local comic book store. As a kid, was run by a guy named Scott Lore, who had a comic book store called Legends and Lore. And I used to hang out there all the time, play Magic, and just like that was where I would hang out. And in my hometown, the Klingon group, like because they're like Klingon groups, like there are those Star Wars groups, just people who cosplay and hang out at conventions and do stuff. Were really trying to get me to join, like in a real big bad way. It was real wild. Like I got like the same way that like you get military recruitment, as a teen. Like, have you ever talked to like a guy in the army as a teen? It's absolute hell.
Oh yeah.
It was the same thing, but trying to get me to join the like Klingon Legion or whatever. And then eventually I didn't do it because I was like, this is actually kind of sad. I wanted to do it. And then I asked them about like what it cost to get a costume and stuff. And they told me, and then I asked my mom about it and she's like, we don't have money. But it was like, my life could have been very different if I had done that as a 12 or 13-year-old.
So in this
Klingon,
in this alternate universe,
yep.
I'm just like, what are the dramatic differences in Gary Butterfield's life if you had been like put together a Klingon outfit and started cosplaying as Klingon? Like, do you think you'd be doing the show circuit right now instead of like doing band stuff and podcast, or what do you?
Maybe. I think I'd speak Klingon. I think that was a big part of the culture of this weird group.
Just like, this is a big moment, and I'm kind of curious what the ramifications would be. Where do you think I would be in this? Like, do you think that I would
in
be
in the age of Klingonpocalypse or whatever?
Yeah.
Like, I think that the age of Apocalypse taught us that anything could have happened. Like, if Xavier could die and turn, Wolverine into a t-shirt like this, if I turned into a Klingon cosplayer, like, you could be the president or something. I mean, anything could have happened.
Well, now now I just feel robbed. You know what?
Yeah.
All these years I just thought I was lazy and unmotivated, but no, I could have been the fucking president.
Gary wasn't a Klingon.
Gary wasn't a Klingon.
It's because I didn't dress up as a Klingon. Look at that fat teenage Klingon. That could have been the thing that changed everything.
Upon this, the world spins.
Yep. And the real answer is I might be different because I'd have like a weird social community and stuff.
Yeah.
As opposed to just like my two friends and then, that I think I would have been like involved in a thing, which I think would have changed my personality a little bit. I don't know if I'd still be doing what I'm doing now. I don't know if it'd be that drastic, but it would have been a different childhood. So we go back to the meeting that Cyclops is having with the Bedlam brothers, who are hanging out where exactly? This is like, it's on Liberty Island. So I guess this is okay. I see now. Yeah,
this is.
It looks like they're just in an abstract space. To me.
Yeah, this was the apocalypse. This was the what did we call it? The age of the Statue of Not Liberty.
yeah, the sinister statue.
Yeah.
Here, and they're looking for evidence.
Yeah. So they've been investigating this since Sinister has been gone, and then Cyclops shows up, and they have to tighten up. Because they were playing like pranks on each other. But before they really even get a chance to start talking, Warren shows up. And Warren is like, hey, I've heard that you're going to have a war. And could you maybe not do that? Like, I run a nightclub. War is going to be bad for business.
Yeah. So this is part of the Sinister kind of Mr. Sinister's mindset during this, is that he's not a good guy, but he thinks a total race war between the humans and mutants is a really bad idea.
Yes.
Because he doesn't know. I mean, he does know actually. Like, America's gonna get nuked. As we found out in Wolverine.
Mm-hmm.
So, we cut over to his club. And there's Alex looking all like Dracula in Symphony of the Night.
Hell yeah.
Sitting there with his shirt open, with his Jean Grey lookalike.
Nips out.
Kissing on him. Yep. Total nips out. And he's just complaining about work. He's complaining about his brother, all these things. There's a weird little note here where he's like, you've come a long way, Scarlet, from the first time I saw you outside that cantina. And she says, I remember that you and Creed were after Doc Neutron. And I have no idea who Doc Neutron is in the X-Men universe.
I mean, we could look it up real quick, because I was really hoping you would have the solve there for me. So
it seems like I would. Like, it's like most X-Men characters, I at least know their name, even if I can't tell you what they are. But Doc Neutron, that does not. Are you Silver Age DC character?
Earth 616.
Are you a Flash villain?
5 appearances.
Okay,
so this has got to be
cool.
There's nothing here. Like, it's just like there's no powers, none. History of character is unknown. What is this?
Yep. It does not autocomplete.
There's one.
Here's a picture of Doc Neutron.
Is this the like impressionist painting that I'm looking at? Yeah.
Yep.
So
that probably is not. Yeah, this is pretty weird. Yeah, I don't know Doc Neutron here.
Havoc and Wolverine Volume 1 is where he shows up. What is?
Oh man, that's why it has this painting style.
Yeah.
Havoc and Wolverine was like an all painted comic. I remember seeing that in the comic store and never quite reading.
It's
so
fascinating to me that there's just no information about a character from a comic book. Like, that's crazy.
Well, it's interesting that they brought in somebody from Havoc, and it's called Havoc and Wolverine Meltdown. And it's cool that they brought in a Havoc character for this.
Dr. Neutron
maybe I'll look at that comic.
Was the scientific genius who caused the nuclear tragedy which Meltdown tried to exploit. So he was he is still conspiring when last seen. He enjoys playing chess. He may or may not have been disfigured.
that counts for most people.
Whew, yeah, that's good stuff right there. Marvunapp.com. I don't know what this is.
Because the official Marvel wiki doesn't have it. So basically, Havoc is just saying, like, if it wasn't for that Cyclops, Apocalypse would appreciate me.
Yeah.
She tries to suck up to him a little bit, and he's like, she starts to say, I think I've fallen in love with you. And he's like, hey, don't even say it, even if you mean it. You're human. It's already complicated. He leaves, and we find out she's a double agent.
Yeah.
She picks up a phone call. We don't know from whom. And it's like, yeah, he just left.
But she does reveal she's been working for the Human Council.
Oh, you're right.
So
yeah, that's what I missed. Yeah, so she's working for the Human High Council. Sorry about that. Listeners. Not sorry to you, Jeremy.
Wow.
Yeah.
Sounded like somebody just got 20% more racist in the edit.
Well, somebody should have been so mean about my Klingon teenager years.
I wasn't mean. I was just genuinely curious. Like, what do you think would change? I think about that shit all the time.
We cut over to torture. Polaris is being tortured on upside down Crucifix X.
Hell yeah.
By Beast doing body scans to kind of get into her brain.
Yeah.
It's not working, so he's like, it's time to do a little brain salad surgery.
Oh man, that's I like a salad and I like a brain surgery, but
never should mix.
Gonna draw the line at combining the two. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And so does Cyclops.
Cyclops shows up and is basically like, hey, you're in violation of a direct order. Like, you're going to risk the whole Kelly Pact negotiation. And even I'm like, oh, God, you sweet, sweet child. Scott, how are you this fucking stupid, my dude?
Well, we find out in this issue, he's not. Like, this is his front. He's presenting to do as much good as he possibly can. Because Cyclops is a traitor. He's a good guy. That's his excuse to shut down Beast here. And Beast calls him out on it. Beast is like, you're an idiot. Apocalypse doesn't intend to do anything with this. My work is more important than this diplomatic charade. And Sinister is gone, and Cyclops is like, yeah, he is gone. I'm in charge. Zaps all his equipment, and is like, now get stop this, or I'll shut you down forever. Get this woman back to the pens. And when she looks up, she sees him and sees him as Magneto.
Dun dun dun.
Yep, he is the one who's been dressing up as Magneto to let people escape the pens.
Yeah. So we fast forward to that night, and he's coming for her. She's in the pens. He's coming to get her, and she's basically like babbling about being his daughter. And of course, Cyclops is like, "Please stop talking. You have green hair.
Shut up,
this is
dude.
so hard. This is so hard. You were wearing red and blue, and you have green hair. Like, put a fucking cloak on and be quiet for 20 seconds while I'm saving your ass.
Fewer primary colors while we escape, please.
Everything else in this comic is brown. Why can't you just be brown?"
Now he's big.
Oh.
So they escape. Cyclops has put on a bad costume that covers, I don't know, just some of his hair.
Sure. Yeah.
And they're escaping, and they get caught by North Star and Aurora.
Yes.
Here. And he's like, they say like, hey, Havoc assigned us here at the last minute, but how do you know so much about our schedules? Cyclops is the person who sets the schedule, so he's been able to time his escapes. And Havoc was one step ahead of him and switched up the schedule.
Yeah, so they
fight.
take
him out.
Yeah, he shoots Lorna, or not Lorna. I'm sorry, Aurora, and
Jean-Pierre,
or I thought it was okay. Sure, yeah, he shoots one of them.
They're
twins.
They're pretty androgynous. It's hard to say. Yeah, it's hard to say. It's actually really hard to say even what's happening in that panel. Where he shoots them, he's shooting both of them.
Yeah.
Now that I see it, but it does look like they're joined at the back, like upside down. Like they look like the doors from Labyrinth. It's real weird.
And then Lorna hits one of them with the other one, I guess, with the big crunk. Get that crunk hit because this is now sponsored by Lil Jon. Okay, crunk.
Gonna take you back to the pens.
And this is
okay.
And this is we're gonna melt them. What?
We're just gonna take you back to the pens. Okay. So they take him off. They're leaving. They think they've made it, but Havoc pulls up. We take them to where they're going. It's Val Cooper, the X Factor liaison in the actual comics, who has been ferrying people away. But Havoc has found him on a security camera. Havoc knows that it's Cyclops.
Yeah. And
pretty intense.
And finally, Havoc has some shit on Cyclops. Cyclops has been doing some bad shit. Yeah. So,
yeah.
Is Val Cooper? Is she the head of SWORD?
I don't think so.
Who is that?
She's a
That's
90s
Agent Brand,
character.
isn't it?
That's
Brand that I'm thinking of. Never mind.
Val Cooper was the government liaison for like Freedom Force and X Factor.
Okay, yeah. I was thinking Brand. I was just because in one of the modern Secret Wars, Cyclops and Agent Brand are like kind of a thing, and it would end up being like it just really worked for me. Like the writing was really good around it. And I was thinking that maybe that's where that came from, but I was getting my women mixed up.
Yeah. They had to break up that relationship so we could fuck Wolverine.
Finally.
But I was into this. Like this was one where I finished it and I was like, man, I just want to read the next issue.
Yeah, me too.
I'm not going to because I'm saving them for things, but I'm like, shit, what's going to happen?
Yeah.
This seems really damning for Cyclops. And the idea of Cyclops being like deep behind enemy lines and this confrontation, like I was pretty invested in this.
Yeah, and I kind of like I'm envisioning him defecting over to the X-Men and being like, literally nobody trusting him, right? So like maybe seeing some like I'm on my own kind of bullshit from Cyclops would be kind of cool.
Well, Jean Grey shows up in the next issue.
Oh,
they say because we know that she left from Weapon X.
Yeah, so
they're going to meet up, and the idea that she was rescued from the pens and Cyclops has been ferrying people out of there. I wonder if Wolverine was actually the person responsible for getting her out, or if Cyclops was. Which is
or if maybe they all did it together.
Yeah, and then later they went and held hands and cuddled up. So so this is a fun, good issue. There's some dodgy art, but in general, like I'm into it.
Yeah, you mentioned this at the start of the episode, but like I'm just kind of into it. Like we're already kind of like almost halfway through this, I think, at this point.
We're straddling the halfway point actually during this recording session. So once we get to after this recording session, we've done Excalibur #2. If we consider with X-Men Alpha on the other end, we're just about halfway through.
Yeah.
So. And the cover of the next issue is real cool. It's like Beast. He's standing and he's taking out Jean Grey and Cyclops. Yeah. Like I'm kind of in for this behind enemy line stuff. I think as far as a setup goes, this comic has been pretty interesting.
And it's cool that it's like my original X-Men kind of team, right? Like this is like Angel is here. Like this is like the only one we're missing is Iceman, and they just won't let Iceman off the leash, which I'm very disappointed about.
Iceman has to be in 4 panels per Astonishing X-Men only.
Chekhov's Bobby is what I'm looking for here.
And this would have been really cool for people at the time, or cool or horrible if you were reading X Factor at the time, because I'm pretty sure in 1995 in X Factor, I mean, yeah, we were dealing with Havoc, Lorna Dane, Multiple Man, Strong Guy, Quicksilver, that team, so you weren't like necessarily looking for Cyclops and Jean Grey and Beast and Angel, but if you were like raised on that old X Factor, this had to have been pretty cool.
Yeah.
If you're listening to this, we appreciate you. Go to patreon.com/Duckfeed.tv and hit us up and leave us ratings, reviews on Apple Podcast and or Podcast Addict or anywhere podcast reviews are found.
Yes. And also, you still have time to come check us out over at Duckfest. That's the weekend of the 27th and the 28th. We're going to be doing a bunch of live shows. It's free to everybody. Donations are encouraged. We're going to be hitting up some Black Lives Matter charities, causes. We are going to be doing the Marvel's The Long Night, which is a podcast that Marvel produced about Wolverine. It's surprisingly good for what it is. So I'm looking forward to talking about that. There's going to be all kinds of Duckfeed Network programming, though. So expect just a bunch of cool stuff Do you guys have a URL for that yet? Is that just duckfeed.tv/duckfest? Or
so we should at least by tomorrow. We recorded a thing, and then Cole was like, "There'll be a URL by tomorrow."
Okay.
Or by the time this comes out, a thing we recorded that's coming out tomorrow. So by the time you hear this, there should be.
Okay.
I don't know what it is though.
I mean, it's
Cole does the website stuff.
If you type in Duckfest, that's a totally different kind of festival. Like I found out the other day because I was looking for a schedule, and it was just literally a fest for ducks and people that are really enthusiastic about it. So,
and there might be a little bit of that at our, but it's not going to be most folks. Man, we have not been on top of getting the. It is still going on. It's all like all the planning is happening. We've just been bad about setting up a landing page.
Do you remember at the first Duckfest when like those people that weren't even Duckfeed people just started making all the quacking noises, and just the entire audience went with it for the entire time for the rest of the day, and it was just a quack fest? It was. I do remember that during Spec Script. Yeah,
my friend Allison, who wrote the Duck Dynasty.
Yes,
one
that was
which was pretty fun.
I need to go back and listen to that. That was wild.
Yeah, those guys are every time I've talked to people from kind of that sphere of Portland podcast community stuff about Duckfest things, they really focus on the duck part. Like they've both been on Carolyn Main, who did the other show, and Chris Ketamy, who runs the show that you were on with Spec Script. We're both like, yeah, quacktacular and stuff. I kept saying that, and I just want to be like, it's not really a thing that we do, you know.
Not a
like I appreciate you trying to make it a thing, but that's not really the you know. It's okay, but
it's a good thing that we're not Wolffeed.tv, because then it would just be a bunch of obnoxious Miko Lash cosplayers in the audience.
Yeah. Or just like a lot of woo.
That's what I meant. Yeah,
like
that's exactly what I meant.
Oh, I guess it does that. I mean, I was thinking of specifically I was thinking of people with cages on their heads because of Miko Lash costume.
Actually, my friend that lives in that area that came, my two friends that came, they're both Miko Lash cosplayers, so I probably shouldn't say that. They're both great. Oh. So
yeah. Well, they would just make wolf noises, but there's nothing wrong with that.
No. Thank you for listening. We're going to stop talking about this now. Come out to the show. Bye.
We appreciate you. Bye.